So we're going to teach you a little bit more. So back over here, we're looking at what is not our right as a world. Is our right as a nation. This is a law governs, and it should be on one of my websites somewhere. And it says is that, every dollar counterfeited by currency increases. That's, the claim of currency and claim of credits and or derivatives and what have you. This is a hidden taxation. Because we're supposedly, every dollar that you have is supposed to be worth something. But if we take their number, that means that every dollar has 2 million more per each and every individual life. So it actually has nothing. And that means it's hidden taxation. They can take their numbers. You can't compete with them because they counterfeit more. They can buy anything they want to because they have counterfeit money. They just punch a button and there you go. And of course the debts, which are over $100 trillion worth, are a hidden taxation on the future of every child. And it cannot be paid because the resources will end. None of it is true. So the children are crucified. Literally crucified because you're creating their hell. You're creating a situation they can't possibly survive. And that means they're going to end up with cannibalism and so on. So we have to have the greatest degree of liberty, the greatest degree of freedom, the greatest degree of democracy, which means to rule ourselves by our own law, the law that we create. And we have to create that law for ourselves because otherwise we don't all understand it. We must understand the law that governs us. Therefore we can defend ourselves and we can defend our nation, and we don't have to depend upon the curse that is university educated people. The damn diploma is our primary source of rebellion. These are the people who are producing the anarchy to destroy life on earth and life in this United States. So we have to find in the fundamental truth of the U.S. Constitution, our First Amendment redress of grievances, is that we have redress of grievances, which carries the same legal rights as the protection of speech and religion and press, which have all been corrupted by the collusion of power. Redress is a constitutional government of laws we create as we, the people, enforce on our employees. We have to enforce them. Otherwise, they have no meaning. These are the limits and the boundaries of where and what you can do in our employ of government. Our government is the Constitution of the United States. It is not more, it is not less, it is not judicial, it is not presidential. It is the Constitution. It is the preamble of that Constitution. It is the purposes defined by the Virginia Bill of Rights, which created the nation by establishing what we do or what we are willing to die for. And of course the Declaration of Independence, which is what we are being faced with that needs to be changed. And of course if you look at the Declaration of Independence, it's all been corrupted again. There is nothing left of this nation. Nothing. They ruined it all. By university is God, university is the expert, university is the propaganda media, university is anything that is a curse to life, as COVID proved true. I said, fear, believe, obey. Fear the cost of being wrong, just by their word, no evidence. Fear that we must believe that the university is God. That's all you get. No evidence, and obey whatever we say because we are the government. So the president and the governors and what have you all said, they are the ones in charge. You have no say. You have no right over your children. You have no right of anything. You have no protection under the law. You have no protection under the Fourth Amendment, which is exactly about what this is. And redress is the legal authority call for a courtroom so that we can decide for ourselves if in fact our employees have done according to their oath of office to build the nation we have designed by our own constitutional unity. Because if they do not, it is our sworn responsibility and duty to bring the nation back to that contractual agreement that the laws we design within constitutional authority shall in fact be our government, not our employees. Not the damn president, not anybody, not leaders. Law is our government. Law is our authority. Law is our executive decision. It's not our employee. Just because you win some sort of election doesn't make you anything. So we have the foundation of our unity is built on one single principle, that we will not be ruled by any man or woman. That's a principle of democracy. We will not be ruled by any man or woman. Not Biden, not Trump, not anybody. We will not be ruled by people. We will be ruled by law. By contractual law. We rule ourselves. The contractual law is the Constitution. That's what we agreed will be our nation. So the Constitution certifies or verifies this is our agreement and clarifies that citizens' rights versus the duties of our employee, not our rulers. They are our rulers. The critical definition of our purpose or our unity as we the people is stated in our preamble. The critical foundations, freedoms established by amendment as need arose. Critical ownership is ours as we, the people, own this nation under constitutional law. This call for redress as a true and accurate accounting of our government proves our own ownership. We are the owners, they are not. That is a very important understanding. We are the owners, they are not. They are our employees, and they swore to do what the Constitution requires of them. They don't get to decide for themselves, they get to obey the Constitution. That's what they swore to do. So the only change allowed by our constitutional government is created by its 2/3, but it's 3/4 acceptance of that change by the states. You got to have 3/4, 3 out of every 4 people have to agree, and of course if 3 out of every 4 people of our ownership, our citizens, decide that we're going to change something, that means that it's going to change. They have no right to change without the law. We have no right to change it without the law, but if we have 3/4 agreement that it's going to be changed, we have changed our government and our Constitution by that vote. So, we are, everything about this planet, everything about our world, everything about everything. So let's just come down to the more simple matters. So we can't allow the universities to declare themselves to be God. They are not God, they're just former classmates. They don't have expertise, they don't have anything, they're just former classmates. And of course it's the evidence that decides it's not me or it's not you and it's not them. They may be right, but they have to produce the evidence to prove that they are right. You can't be like COVID and say, well, there's no such thing as we have to believe you. There's no such thing. That's fake news. And the media was strewn throughout for a year or more with nothing more than believe in COVID, believe, fear the cost of being wrong, believe, the university is God, believe and obey. And of course the Nazis came out, which just means it's just another term for people who want power that they didn't have. So, and that's where you get the liars and the cheaters and the thieves are all come screaming out of the holes and the rat holes and the things that, they do. So we have to accept the idea that our nation is ruined. It is, it's ruined. Our nation is, our democracy is ruined by all the tragedy of universities besides. The university decides, that's how we got here. There is no leadership without a diploma. You think about that for a minute. There is no leadership unless you have a diploma. Nobody in Congress gets to be in Congress without a diploma. Nobody gets to be a doctor without a diploma. Nobody gets to be a leader of any kind, anywhere, any kind, any place without a diploma. And that means that the university is in charge of everything. They're in charge of banking. They're in charge of throwing away every part and every piece and every resource of everything that we need. It is the university. It's not Republican. It's not Democrat. They just play a game. And the game, of course, is, you have to have a certain amount of economy so that, the Republicans win for a while, and then you have to have a certain amount of, you got to pay for the poor, and so the Democrats run for a little while, and it's a game. It's not political, that is political, but it's not about governing at all. It's just a game. So some people win for a little while and the other side wins for a little while. But it has nothing to do with our government. Our government is based upon the preamble. And the preamble is, well, let's just read it. Oh, wrong. So the preamble is, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. We certainly don't have a more perfect union, and that's due to university leadership. Who do you think clarifies and decides what is being taught in every school? What is being indoctrinated in every child? Who do you think does that? It is the university. And of course they create the delusion that nothing matters but their imagination, their fantasy. So establishing justice, there is no such thing as justice or fair play in this United States. Been through a number of courtrooms all the way. They don't care, they don't know. They are court minders to ensure that only power gets to decide. Only the power gets to decide. There's none of that. Nothing else. So they ensure domestic tranquility. Well, it ain't a tranquil nation because there is a underlying current for civil war everywhere. Whether you like it or not, it's here. And that's because our future is not certain and our nation is not certain because we have all kinds of problems. There's not going to be enough water, there's not going to be enough food, there's not going to be enough anything because leadership drove us here. They don't provide for the common defense. They don't promote general welfare. They don't secure the blessings of liberty, certainly not to any child. They have destroyed the future by creating all kinds of things that cannot survive the future. There's a need for a complete accounting of this United States. We have a legal standing to protect ourselves from the things that they are doing. The university cannot be God. They are not God. And that's exactly what the universities have been trying to do. The universities claim to be God. That's what they do. They claim that we have to believe them because they are God. They are the expert. They are the only one that can decide. They've taken over every courtroom. They've taken over every legal challenge. They've taken over everything to completely destroy our freedom and liberty to decide for ourselves. As with COVID proved, you don't get to choose what you want to do. You don't get to decide whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. They don't provide any reference to the reality of evidence. They just say, believe us. They are liars and traitors and thieves and whores and terrorists and satanic everything. They are a tragedy to us. And of course, you can't complain that the university is the devil himself, because it's not. There are people there who actually do a little bit of work. Not a lot of them, but there are a few. There are a few that actually try to benefit society, but the majority, and particularly in genetics, is the fact that they just want to inject chaos into nature because they believe that they're going to be gods themselves. And I asked, well, what the hell are you going to do when nature is completely destroyed? And said, not to worry, according to doctorate students, not to worry. Evolution will make something else in 1 billion years or so. Do you want to wait 1 billion years? Do you want something else? Everything you depend upon, your face, your eyes, your hands, your everything is dependent upon genetics. And they are injecting chaos into it because they believe they're going to know how to make something out of by changing the genetic code. But that's not how genetics work.